In this episode, we dive into key lessons for aspiring entrepreneurs and startup founders. We'll explore the importance of building a solid team, why the perfect idea isn't as crucial as you might think, and how to attract top talent even without significant resources. You'll also learn about managing difficult situations, such as when to cut team members who aren't performing and how to lead your startup towards success from day one. So let's, at a high level, what somebody wants to start something, what should they think about when they're first starting a company? Say North America, because I'm almost positive that's like 99% of the audience that would be listening to this. But what should they think about?
So I tell entrepreneurs, a lot of people have this misconception. They believe that when they start a company, the idea is so important and they should spend all their time iterating on what's the perfect idea I could launch with. And honestly, your idea is not the most important thing, because most likely that idea will change. Like when you begin, your idea, if it's new, if it's groundbreaking, it hasn't been tested by nature, right? If it's really innovative, and it almost has to be by nature for a small startup to grow into a unicorn, you have to have something very special, very new. So if it's that new, then you don't have the data to know if it will work or not. So don't waste a lot of time of thinking, trying to come up with the perfect idea. Instead, pick a direction you're interested in, and then spend 80% of your time on one thing at the beginning. Building your team. Now, people don't think about this. They want to build the product, they want to raise venture capital, they want to, go out there and get press or whatever they're going to do, but they don't spend enough time building their team. So many entrepreneurs overlook this. And I will tell you, the team is going to define your success, not you. You're one person. One person never built $1 billion company ever. You have to, if you're going to build a unicorn, if you want to build a small solo business, fine. You can ignore the team piece. But if you really want to grow and scale a company, you need an excellent team to start with. And you need a team with skills that you don't necessarily possess. So I tell most entrepreneurs, honestly, the reason 90% fail, this is why I call it surviving a startup, is I want to show you what you need to do every step of the way to survive. Is the reason they fail is because they compromise on their team members. They don't know a lot of, let's say they have an idea they want to explore, but they don't know the right engineers. They will take whoever comes their way. Whoever, it happens to be available, somebody they know or somebody they bumped into, but they aren't the best. Look, if you're going to build the best company in the world, if you're going to be number one in your market, which is what you have to be if you're going to be a unicorn, you have to be the market leader. You're going to need absolutely the best team, which means the best people in every area, technical area, design, business and sales. If you can't get top-notch people, forget it. Don't even start. If you get top-notch people, I guarantee you will come up with the right idea.
So how do you find those? So follow-up question, very good points. How do you find those people? What do you look for? How do you, as a first-time entrepreneur, a lot of noise out there, a lot of resumes are going to come your way, right? If you put up some job adverts, where do you go to find these people? What do you look for?
That is a question I get asked by every entrepreneur after
I know.
Tell them. I tell them, your team is subpar. I try to be honest with them, but kind, right? I'm like, you guys, you don't have a killer team. You're never going to produce a killer product or, beat out your competitors. Focus on this. They're like, but I can't afford it. I have no money. I can't even pay people. And I tell them, the number one test of a great CEO, and this is what I look for. If I'm a venture capitalist, so when I fund entrepreneurs, I say the first test you have is to find a great team without any money. If you can't do that, why should I trust you with millions of dollars, or any amount of my money? Because if you can't even, convince people to join you at the beginning because they believe in you, how are you going to get investors to believe in you? How are you going to sell customers? How are you going to sell the world on your vision? You need that ability, so that leadership ability. So I tell them, first of all, it's not going to be easy. There is no magic wand. I could pretend I'm going to give you a magic wand for, that will make all these people appear. But honestly, what it is it's getting out of your shell. It is engaging with other people. Not at the beginning, you don't have money, most likely, right? Unless you're already successful, like, Mark Zuckerberg or somebody like that. You have as much money as you need. You don't have money. You don't have other resources. But what you do have is your ability to communicate as a leader. So you need to go out and you need to engage these people on a deep level, like the belief in your business, and you need to be receptive to their ideas. Remember, if you're going to attract super smart, ambitious people, they want to feel like they're contributing to a project that they believe in, that they take ownership of. If you want them to own the idea, you have to let them contribute. You can't just say, this is my idea. I don't want to hear what you think. Do you want to join or not? That just doesn't work. You have to truly, for your core team, right? You have to truly make them a part of the thing. And this is why you don't need a fully fleshed out idea. You need a direction that you think is very promising. You need to find people who believe in that direction. And then together, you can start to iterate. But by bringing that, you'll find it's absolutely amazing. By opening the door and saying, let's build this together. I want to hear what you think. What ideas do you have? Where could we take this? Suddenly, these people who are excellent, and they may be getting a job at Google or Facebook or something, they'll quit those jobs because they think, oh my God, because as soon as they start investing their time, all of us do it, we fall in love with it. Like, that's what is meaningful to us. So you have to have a meaningful engagement with them, and then they will, often it's their project too at that point. They will just work for you for equity and commit fully. And that is the start of a great relationship, and that is the beginning of a great business.
I heard the saying, I think it was from one of the founders of Buffer. He said, if you're hiring for a startup and the first question one of your hires asks is, how much vacation time am I getting or whatnot? Nothing wrong with those questions, but those aren't the people that are going to really love a startup environment. They're not going to love it. And that's what you have to have at the beginning. You need to have that love, that passion that probably is an abnormal amount of passion that most people don't have for a company or for their work, right? You have to find people that can even emulate like a 1/10% of the passion that the founder would have. If you can find those people, that's when you win, but it's very difficult.
That is true. It is difficult, but people have that a lot of the people you want have that passion, and those people are out there waiting for somebody to approach them. So often, I've heard horror stories and lived through horror stories of entrepreneurs. I'll give you an example. There's an entrepreneur I was working with. Not just one. This happened many times. But this entrepreneur brought somebody onto their team to do the coding, right? The person was from Google, crack coder. And this person was so excited about the project at the beginning. This passion was there. But the person, when he asked the person, this coder did not want to give up the Google job, right? They were like, I want to be safe, right? When this takes off, I'll do it, but I'll do your project on the side. Well, they started off great. And then over time, when things just didn't take off right away, the person got distracted. Like at Google, it's not an easy to work at Google. I mean, they expect a lot out of you. They hire super smart people and they want them to work. So this person got distracted by other obligations he had at Google. And all of a sudden his productivity went boom. And the entrepreneur's waiting, like, where's that passion? What's going on? And weeks go by. And should I cut the person and start all over, find somebody else? Don't want to do that. Then they're in this conundrum. They don't know what to do. Eventually, after several months, they had to cut the person and start all over. So they wasted several months. To your point, I say, don't commit to someone unless they'll commit to you, right? So if you want to get, it's one thing anybody can say they have passion. And some people are truly passionate, but unwilling to commit. Like they're passionate for a brief period of time, but there's a litmus test. Like, okay, quit your job at Google and let's do this full time. No, I want to do it on the side. Okay, then you're probably not the right person. You just have to say that and move on.
Mm-hmm. And I guess the follow-up, because I know this is asked of you a lot, would be when you do have the wrong people in your organization, is there a way around it, or do you just have to cut them and rebuild? Is that the only solution?
So in a big company, it can afford some dead weight. You can afford dead weight if you're Microsoft or any of these huge companies. If people, they just, if somebody isn't working out, because it's often hard to fire people, the bosses just shunt them off to a corner, and ignore them. In a startup, you cannot afford an ounce of dead weight. You have to be a lean, mean fighting machine. Like, you cannot have any dead weight. And that means that you have to make a decision. Now, I myself have stumbled in this area. My early startups, like, I had this engineer who was good friends with my other engineers, and they recommended I bring this engineer on. But the engineer actually was not good. Like, he was very arrogant. He talked a good talk, but his implementation was buggy all the time. It kept crashing. It was a nightmare. But we, again, after I only found out how inept he was, 6 months in, because we had already, I trusted, and I thought he would build. They liked him because he was, because they were friends, right? But he wasn't the right guy. And the system, but we were 6 months in. I felt like we can't go back 6 months. It's insane, right? We spent 6 months on this. So I stuck with the guy another 6 months, and then another 6 months. And I will tell you, the day I fired him, thinking all hell would go loose, I got this new engineer, and they just, this system is crap. Totally redid it in a month. And it worked better than it ever had. So I will tell you, cut your losses. The day you realize somebody isn't working out as a startup, you cut them. You literally cut them right that day, and you go in, even if you think your whole company is going to implode and it will set you back 6 months or whatever it is, just do it and find the right person. Yeah.
Very good advice. It's very hard. And I guess that's why if, I'm sure this will come up at some point, but if you are an entrepreneur and you're having to deal with these very difficult personal discussions with people that you've hired on, it can be easy to default to literally what you just said, just keeping them on, keeping them around, keeping everybody happy. So maybe this.
Yeah, I was also worried about my other employees who liked him. But it wasn't a question of whether you like somebody. It's like, are they performing? I didn't want to lower morale. I didn't want to do. Honestly, you can't worry about those things. You just, in the difficult discussion, you just have to be totally honest. You just have to say, first of all, you have to give them a warning right away when you first see the problem. Like, don't ignore it. Like, just state it up front, put it in writing, because that protects you legally, and just state it up front. These are the problems. Then you warn them twice. Third time, out the door. Like literally, we're cutting the loss.
You're right. I like that though. It shouldn't be a surprise. Like, it should never be a surprise.
And you shouldn't worry about lowering their productivity by telling them they're not doing a good job. If they're gonna be offended by your words and not step up to the plate, then they aren't the right person for the job. So you just, you just need to be totally honest, but not in a mean way. Like, you don't have to be mean. You just have to be firm. You just have to be, this is what I expect of you. This is what we need to get done. If we're not going to hit that goal, if the system goes down again, or you don't hit your milestones, then we're going to have to review whether we can keep you on, period.
Thanks for tuning in. If you found this valuable, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. And if you want to dive deeper into this conversation, check out the links in the description to watch the full episode. See you in the next one.